Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Life and Logic. Recently, my family's been cleaning out my mother-in-law's house, and it's interesting to see what generations collect and keep and value over time. And what I found was material and information about the rollout of the zip code. It was in 1967 that it became mandatory to include the five-digit zip codes. And I can imagine it was a massive nationwide effort to get everyone prepared to use it. And yeah, can you imagine if you had an address book, full of addresses that you frequently used, and you would go to the address book and you write out the address, and you need to send a letter or pay a bill, and you needed to have the zip code. And apparently they had a solution to provide a book with zip codes. As a matter of fact, I have one, and it had at the time of 1967 all the zip codes nationwide, and it cost $1. And, a dollar now still you wouldn't throw away $1 unless you really had to, and $1 in '67 was a substantial investment. And the other solution was you could fill out the address on a postcard, the address in the city that you want to send it to, and you would mail in this postcard, and the postmaster general would get it at the location and complete it and fill out what was a proper zip code to send to this address and send it back to you. So why did I find this interesting? This was good project management and good planning. They anticipated a problem and they came up with a solution, and not just the book, printing the book, but also with the card that people could easily use and relate to. And the thought of somebody saving this is really pretty interesting. And it takes a good it takes a good project manager for a successful conclusion of a project. And through much of my career, I've been involved and observed ambitious projects that have failed, really not because the objective or products were bad, but because of poor project management or poor execution. And it really does take a skilled person to develop a budget and a timeline and to anticipate, potential complications, come up with contingency plans, the resource level to make sure to have the right people, the right place at the right time, to be able to track expenses, to get people trained. All of these things take time, and you got to think through them, and you got to engage with a lot of different groups to make sure that everybody is in sync with how to carry out this project. And the value of an engaged and efficient project manager really is critical to the success of most projects of any substantial size. Really, too often, a company's management is not willing to make the investment in a true project manager. And this is especially true when it comes to software engineering, but it happens across all industries. Instead, project management is assigned to a committee or a group. And really, this is a major mistake. A project needs to have a, a single point of contact, someone whose job performance is based upon the project's success. Diluted accountability is no accountability. It's it's always easy to point to someone else in the group for the failure when a group as a whole is responsible for a project. Another temptation is to assign project management to someone that is already on the project team, where the project management is just another task, another one of their deliverables. And this can work for a small project or low risk project. However, really, as a project grows in complexity and more time consuming, the project management tasks are neglected, especially when if you have maybe a software engineer and that consumes majority of his time or her time, and project management is just something you address as absolutely needed. And it really does not take long for a project to go off track if you neglect really the essential task of project management. Really, in my opinion as well, the cost of mismanagement is easily offset by the cost of a project manager. So if you have a missed deadline or overlooked detail, express shipping and other things can easily cost more than just hiring a good project manager. Another key responsibility is a project manager prevents scope creep. And this is when a project's deliverables and expenses expand uncontrollably. This can especially happen when a group or committee can decide to add their own pet projects without truly accounting for the cost in terms of timeline or cost of budget and expenses. And project management comes in many forms. In some instances, a project is managed by a business analyst, which is easily crosses over into to this role. It's also a good career path for personnel as they gain experience and want to expand their career beyond just an individual contributor's role. Uh, it is a challenging job, no doubt about it. It is really difficult, but it can be very rewarding to navigate a project to a successful conclusion. And it opens up new careers for you, right? As you successfully do a project, the next time something comes up, they're looking for someone to do the project as well. If you find yourself in the role as a project manager, make sure you have a good mentor, especially if you've never done something. Don't be afraid to ask questions, right? Study project management's best practices. Someone gave me a project management memory jogger a long time ago, and I've kept this, and it's always interesting to look back and think, how do you solve a problem? It just gives you a quick reference. But learn the material, know how to manage a project. Sorry, but you do need to have good interpersonal skills. I mean, you find yourself managing people and personalities and people's lives in terms of being aware of what's going on in their lives and vacations and calendars. So you will have to deal with people and be able to deal with them effectively. Um, there's besides just books and material, there's also the Project Management Institute, PMI.org. This is where you can get really project management certifications, which really helps in terms of on your resume building. Colleges provide degree programs in project management, as well as additional learning classes, adult learning classes. There's also, as you gain in this skill, it's very portable across multiple industries. So perhaps where you're working now, um, maybe not just in software management or software development or IT, but in construction and accounting and manufacturing. So this is a very portable skill set. So this may give you fluidity to move, in the job market as it evolves and as it changes. Projects also have a life. They start, they are executed, and they're completed. And this variety can make life very interesting. Especially if you're the type of personality that can't imagine sitting behind a desk working on one project or one skill throughout your career. It makes it very interesting and can make life very fun. If you're thinking of going to college or looking for career change, perhaps there is a path you should consider in project management. There are good paying jobs out there for people with the skill and motivation to succeed as a project manager. So I would encourage you, study it, think about it. And I'm sure you've observed project management in your life and your career, and probably have a good understanding really of what is a good project manager and what is a bad project manager. So I think it's worth your time if that's something that you're considering. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you found it interesting discussion. I'll be glad to read any comments you may have, and I'll see you next time on Life in Logic.